Our route to San Antonio, Chile from Puerto Montt is about 1100 kilometres, so there'll be a day at sea. We're arriving back into the latitudes that we're used to, with San Antonio being located a little south of the latitude where we live. You might think this would bring warmer waters, but no. Like the west coast of Africa, there's a strong south to north current, the Humboldt current, that keeps the sea temperatures cool, cold even, and moderates the climate along the coast. Earthquakes in this area can be severe. The last major earthquake in Valparaiso was magnitude 6.9 in 2017, but in 2010 there was a magnitude 8.8 offshore from Concepcion, which will pass. In the same year, a huge magnitude 9.5 event occurred between Concepcion and San Antonio. This brings to an end the first leg of the cruise. Passengers could book Buenos Aires to San Antonio as a cruise, and San Antonio to Fort Lauderdale is technically another cruise. We've strung them both together.
18th of March today, heading from Puerto Montt to San Antonio in Chile, which is really the end of this leg of the cruise. People are going to be getting off to go home from Santiago, but we're staying on until Miami. And finally, the Pacific Ocean finally decided to be a bit Pacific. Very nice. Just gotta get some breakfast now and occupy our day. Just to prove we're here. Trundling along. Over there in the distance is the Isla Mocha.
Some people pass the days at sea with typical shipboard activities. Never know, you might win a cruise or something. That evening we get ready for our excursion in the morning. Rather than heading into Santiago, Chile's capital, we've decided to go up the coast to the city of Valparaiso, which is built on steep hills around Valparaiso Bay. It's reputed to be quite scenic and at one time famous for the 30 or so funicular railways that took people up and down the steep hills. There are only a few left in operation now, with some in the process of restoration.
Trip to Valparaiso. About 90 kilometres from here.
We head off through the port of San Antonio to get to the intercity highway. As usual, the background noise makes audio recording difficult.
It's overcast, you can see. It's sort of typical. We've got a bus full of coffers. What can you do?
One of the attractions of these bus excursions is just soaking up the local scenery. We pass through one of the main wine growing areas of Chile. As we enter Valparaiso, you can already tell that it's steep and hilly.
Coast and potentially back down to Valparaiso.
main part of the city is somewhat more level. Many of the buildings have these attractive European-style facades.
Classic buildings. All the interesting wiring. Which it's power, phone, just strung up the thing. There's wires strung everywhere.
We start to climb back up to our first stop. There's a lot of graffiti, but also lots of attractive street art.
The city is very steep. It stairs up this side street. Mural along the front of this building. And all these blasted tourists. This very vertical city. We're about halfway up. This is not as if we're sitting at the bottom and the city goes up from here.
Our first stop is the Pablo Neruda College and Art Museum. Pablo Neruda was a Chilean diplomat and poet, winner of a Nobel Prize for Literature.
Interesting bench there. But double-sided. To offer a bit of an explanation, this is Pablo Neruda Gallery. I won't be taking any pictures if we go inside. There's the big copyrighted artworks. But the view from here, I'll show you in a minute.
Now I have to admit that I've stuffed up here. We looked at this house, La Sebastiana, which is part of the museum. The house itself is not only quirky, but so is the interior. I seem to have lost all the photos I took. I have no idea what happened to them. There are some others from this day that are missing too. Sorry.
Steep hillside up there. This is the Italian part of the city, and this is one of the Italian villas here. It's actually quite big. In fact, I have to just zoom out a bit. It's a bit hazy, but the city extends over there to the other side of the bay. There's a harbour down there with the container cranes. And a not quite so steep part of the city.
We continue our tour, heading off to lunch. This is one of the currently derelict funiculars. We're definitely riding a working one to get to lunch. One of the more upmarket areas of the city. The wooden buildings are more earthquake resistant and are common in this part of South America.
That one's a bit problematic. That's a renovator's delight. All these nice houses here with the view. View over the harbour to the other side of the city. Naval base and the container port. Right behind this is like the Naval and Maritime Museum.
Look out in the rotunda here. In the little market. Here, a hat with three eyes.
I was just going to ask you the same thing.
Another old funicular there. Looks like they're all pretty much closing down. I suppose more people travel by car these days and they're not needed anymore. Must be getting old, this like a little market kind of thing here, but I can't be asked haggling tourist prices and that anymore. Not that I've got anything I actually want. Then off to lunch. We're riding up the short but very steep Victoria funicular to a restaurant with a view. Lunch will be who knows what, but hopefully with some excellent Chilean wine. This is another set of lost footage. I did record the lunch venue in a beautifully restored old house, but it's nowhere to be found. The entrance to the funicular is through this cafe, newsagent, whatever store.
Very steep funicular. Still operating, the rails are shiny.
So this is the one we're going up on. It's a shame they've been closing a lot of them. Piling. Oh my god, this is like steep. What? This will be about 60 degrees.
Then the second one, it handles about
Here we go.
almost 20. And the small one, a German company, they do 3. Very tiny. It's a nice building. It's from 1917. And across, that's the number 2 Catholic cemetery in the city. And that nice one over there with a kind of yellowish house or creamy, that's part of the dissident cemetery, the English and the Lutheran. And that's a Lutheran church. Look at that over there. Deutsche Schule, Lutheran Church. The Kirche.
We have arrived.
Okay. I think we have to leave.
Have to make sure you go out the right door because we came in that way. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Look, finger in the picture again.
Yeah. Yeah, he's remodeling the place, but he's only for arts. Okay. Only for arts.
For lunch.
Did you get the Charlie Chaplin?
The what? Oh.
This is our restaurant.
It's like a hidden mural of Charlie Chaplin here. After lunch, we head back down, off to the main city square and then back to the ship.
Oops. Bit jolty.
So this one is very steep. Like somebody's old washing machine.
Sowas gibt's ja nicht, glaube ich.
I can't tilt the phone enough to sort of pick up the tracks. So what did the guys say? There used to be 32 of these through the bushes. And there's 16 left. Through the bushes. Here we go. So, monument to the war between Chile, Peru and Bolivia in 1879. It's just like a circular panorama of the main square. That's the fire station. Museum of some kind. Chilean Navy. A building. Queen Victoria Hotel.
Let's take one.
Chilean shipping company. You might have noticed it's a bit of a market here. It's been past a couple of squares where there's markets, in addition to all the shops on the roadside. So I think that's pretty much it for our little tour of Valparaiso. We've got an hour or so to get back to the ship, and it's getting on in the afternoon now. And ship leaves at 4:30, so I think once everybody's finished here, we'll be heading off. So just see small shop fronts.
When I arrived in Valparaiso,
I hate to sound a bit harsh, but overall it's a nice place. But some of the city centre, like the amount of graffiti is just incredible. And yeah, need to clean it up or do something. So the landscape near Valparaiso and San Antonio is drier than in the south, a lot more sort of scrub country. This church thing, village or something. Back on the ship and leaving San Antonio for our next stop, Coquimbo. So I think the pilot's been taken off, and we just saw some brown pelicans. God, they look weird. They look like sort of like giant crows. And we are now out of the harbour and departing San Antonio in Chile. We've got a boat fishing there. It looks like fishing time must be on. The tide must have changed or something like that, because all the other fishing boats are on ahead now. I'm not allowed to throw a line over the side. But there is Valparaiso. So we made it back again. That on the ship, cruising past on the way up to La Serena, Coquimbo. Finger. That over my shoulder is the moon. Why am I pointing that out? Well, we've been down in the deep southern latitudes around the Shire for a couple of weeks now, and hoping that we might get some aurora activity, because the sun's been sort of fairly active recently, and not only do we get no aurora activity, but this is the first night in 14 days we'd actually been able to see the moon or the stars or the sky. It's just been overcast and more overcast. So now we're back to about 32 degrees latitude instead of 54, so if there is a aurora, it'll be pretty much the same as we would see it from home. There you go.